Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you try their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignons, and of course the king of all, those massive and gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Hell, even those Prime Angus and Wagyu burgers will probably be the best you've ever had. Check them out at UppercutChops.com on your mobile device or on your regular computer, or give them a call and find out what's for dinner at www.uppercutchops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Yes! All right, a big welcome in to everybody listening in and watching, of course, on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. And, of course, big hello to our friends watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, and Wild Cable Television affiliates and Hotel TV in over 500,000 rooms from coast to coast. Yes, folks, you can't get away from us. Even everybody on Instagram, Facebook, and AMP TV, AAMP.TV. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow as well. All right, how about this one? How about Michigan State? How about Michigan State? A lot of people have talked about this. And, you know, Michigan State, Sparty has kind of flown under the radar as far as chaos because it's been a relatively stable institution, not causing too much trouble, playing third, fourth fiddle in the Big Ten, and probably sixth or seventh academically out of 14. But at the end of the day, discipline is a big deal. Unfortunately, Michigan State seems to lack a little bit of discipline. And now we're going to kind of shift and maybe mention that they should be in the same light as some of those old University of Miami thugs. How about the Michigan State thugs? What do you think about that, folks? How about this? You know, some players have been suspended, but how about this? 4 more Michigan State thug players, in my opinion. I can say that. It's my program. I can say it, and guess what? It's in my opinion, and that's my free right. Nonetheless, 4 more Michigan State players have been suspended in the fallout of the postgame incident in the Michigan Stadium tunnel that just happened a week ago. As a matter of fact, actually it was just a few days ago, Michigan State announced that, of course, cornerback Malcolm Jones, another quarterback, Justin White, a defensive end, Jacoby Winmon, and a defensive end, Brandon Wright, have been added to the list of Spartans suspended indefinitely. These clowns. Yes, those 4 dubious players, what do? They join linebacker Tank Brown, cornerback Karen Crump, safety Angelo Gross, and defensive end Zion Young, whose suspensions were also announced a few days ago. These guys. What in the world is wrong with these poor sport, sore loser knuckleheads from Michigan State University? They're going to keep getting a bunch of boos. And folks, in case you're wondering who they are, right here on this Big Ten helmet, there they are. There's that S, that stupid S. All right, everybody can see it on Instagram. You can see that's the S right here, right next to Michigan, and that's who they beat up upon. They beat up on Michigan. Why? Because they figured if they couldn't beat them up in the classroom or in the game of life, they would beat them up on the field because that's the only place they seem to be able to beat them. That's right. So they announced these extra suspensions. How embarrassing for the university. And Michigan State is not a bad university. It's a very pedestrian, middle-of-the-road university. But of course, the suspensions stem from the altercation between players from Michigan State, Michigan in the tunnel after Michigan's 29-7 buggy whipping and blowout win over Sparty. In fact, in videos posted on social media, folks, they're everywhere. You can just Google it and you'll find it everywhere. Multiple Michigan State players appear to punch, kick, and use the helmets to hammer the Michigan players that were essentially left helpless because they weren't looking to fight anybody. They were looking to go back to the locker room and call it a day. But Michigan State had to take it a step further and use their helmets as weapons in the same way that Myles Garrett did just a couple of years ago. I got to tell you, that is low. That is remarkably low. That's bad taste. It's embarrassing for the university. It's embarrassing for the Big Ten. I would expect that out of the Mountain West. Maybe I expect that out of, I don't know, maybe a different conference. But the Mountain West, yeah, definitely. Maybe Fresno State, I would expect it out of them. But that's me. That's my opinion. And again, I'm entitled to it. I certainly wouldn't expect it out of anybody out of the ACC. That's for sure, if you know what I mean. And I say that because I'm wearing, of course, an ACC handy-dandy little dapper shirt, one of those polo shirts. Kind of a nice shirt, by the way. Nonetheless, other videos appear to show another Michigan player being attacked, kicked, punched, and literally bludgeoned with a helmet taken off the head of this guy. One of the players on Michigan State took the helmet off and started smashing one of the Michigan players in the head. What kind of BS is that? That is remarkably uncalled for. It is embarrassing. That's criminal behavior. As a matter of fact, after the game, Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh said 2 of his players, quote, were assaulted, close quote. The family of one of the players, Jamon Green, told the 4-letter network that Green was struck, quote, with the helmet in the face, back, and shoulders, close quote. Yeah, that's Sparty. So you go ahead and root for Sparty. Guess what? Sparty, you got some bad actors on your club. That's how it is. Another video shows Jaden McBurrows being surrounded by Michigan State players and kicked and punched several times. Yes, that's your Michigan State Spartans, folks. Yeah, I got to tell you, that is incredibly embarrassing. It's wrong. Those kids should go to jail, in my opinion. Now, Jim Harbaugh called the incidents egregious and sickening and called for a thorough investigation and serious consequences. And Jim said, quote, there needs to be accountability. There needs to be a full, thorough, timely investigation. I can't imagine this will not result in criminal charges. The videos are bad. It's clear what transpired. It's very open and shut. As they say, watch the tape. And he added, an apology will not get the job done. Close quote. So, Michigan State, in a statement attributed to athletic director Alan Haller and head coach Mel Tucker, the overrated Mel Tucker, said that it is, quote, transparently working with law enforcement and the Big Ten to evaluate additional facts and evidence surrounding the events in Ann Arbor, close quote. Now, the Michigan State statement said the suspension for these 8 players, quote, will remain in place until the investigations are completed, close quote. You know, that'll probably be rather convenient because they've got a game coming up against the University of Illinois, who is the Big Ten West leader right now. Something tells me the investigation is going to be closed almost instantly. But then again, that's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. So, of course, Mel Tucker called the actions of his players unacceptable, and he apologized. In fact, Tucker said, quote, we're not here to make any excuses for the behaviors on Saturday, close quote. You think? That was pretty damn insightful. Now, the athletic director released a statement. An official statement said, Michigan State University athletics and football program are committed to the highest level of sportsmanship, really, as we continue to gather and review electronic evidence of the altercation between Michigan State and University of Michigan student athletes on October 29, 2022. We are suspending student athletes Malcolm Jones, Justin White, Jacoby Woodman, and Brandon Wright. The suspension are effective immediately. We are transparently working with law enforcement and the Big Ten Conference to evaluate additional facts and evidence surrounding the events at Ann Arbor. We will continue to take appropriate actions in the matter as we learn more. The student-athlete suspensions will remain in place until the investigations are completed. The health and safety of our student-athlete coaches, personnel, and the Spartans community is our number one priority. Thank you for your continued collaboration and support as we move forward together. And that was by Alan Haller, Michigan State University Vice President and director of athletics, and also signed Mel Tucker, Michigan State University head football coach. Sorry, Mel. You know what? Michigan State now has to play Illinois, like I said, but listen, Mel Tucker has had 15 coaching gigs in about 25 years. Seems that he's been fired several times, yet his privilege, now we all know what that is, his privilege may have gotten him paid $95 million at Michigan State. What a sham, in my opinion. Here's a little reality between Michigan State and Michigan for you, just in case you're keeping score. Michigan State's acceptance rate is a whopping 83%. Basically, 2 legs and a pulse, and you can pay tuition, you get in. At University of Michigan, 1 out of every 5 get in. Average GPA at Michigan, 3.87 for applicants. Oh yeah, graduation rate, even with that low, ridiculous acceptance rate, or better yet, the high one. So 83% get in, only 59% graduate. But at Michigan, 20% get in and 81% graduate. The list goes on and on. The University of Michigan is a superior school in just about every way to Michigan State. And by the way, changing uniforms and helmets in their parents won't seem to work either. We're going to come back with that in just a few minutes here on the Sports Circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
The sports world. It's a circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas.
Score, put the ball down, give it to the referee. And I don't even care if you slam it down, but you don't have to dance. You don't have to call your mom on the phone. You don't have to go
The Sports Circus is a 1-hour primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC News, and CNBC radio affiliates, plus Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Well Cable TV affiliates across North America and nationwide in upscale hotels and resorts on hotel television in all 210 Nielsen-rated markets.
Just like a circus.
My life is just a party, and parties weren't meant to last. Dickerson.
Jason Hook, Zarbler from Five Finger Death Punch.
Sidney Justin from The Miracles.
My name is Curtis Blow. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. I'm here on the Sports Circus.
The Sports Circus brings top sports and entertainment content and is delivered fully produced and is easy pass-through traffic for radio stations. Simply drop the program in your traffic manager. The full 59-minute, 50-second file will coordinate with the clock. Your local station receives up to 4 minutes of local avails during the Sports Circus broadcast, and it's a great lead to live sports and entertainment.
Well, if you're going to talk about our congressman being crooked, why not talk about commercial products who don't do what they represent to do?
Yes!
Big Billy here. He certainly knows something about making things difficult on the competition.
He's a punisher.
Yeah, he just break the ribs.
Yeah, just,
I still haven't broke someone's collarbone yet in a boxing match.
That's a great statement. I have not broke someone's collarbone in the ring yet.
I've never heard that before.
I can't
Is
wait.
there a reason you said in the ring?
I can't wait.
Is it that you've broken collarbones just outside of the ring? You did catch that, right? He said in the ring.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
like,
he got him on the curtain. He got him on the edge of the ring and broke his collarbone.
Hey, this is Tommy John, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
I had to get Sal's name right.
Well,
Sal the floor sweeper. That's his new name.
Sal the bookkeeper. Hey,
Yeah, but even my name, even my last name.
Add that one to the bank,
But no, Alicia, you even got my last name wrong. That's why I said my
I know it
colon
starts
was
with a
bleeding.
V. It starts with a V.
He said a V. Really? Quick, where's the punch sound? 400 punches.
Here's the punch sound.
Right, exactly. Look, he almost knocked out the microphone.
Alicia, that's why they have cue cards, baby. So don't let the name bother you. Just bring a cue card with you next
But
time.
people can't read my name off a cue card.
Or change your name to Joe Smith or something. Jeez, make it easy.
This is Sal Tuzzolino, host and ringmaster of the Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all
That's
day long?
800-908.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning. Maybe somebody jumped you in the tunnel of a football stadium and you need attorney help. Contact Legal Shield. Maybe they can help. 213-245-1305. That's 213-245-1305. Again, 213-245-1305. Or check them out online for more information at nocourt.us. That's www.nocourt.us. Or email them at info@nocourt.us. Yes! All right, welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and our independents from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the 49ers, the New York Yankees, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome to everybody that may be listening in with our friends over in California on NBC News and CNBC Financial. Hey, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. You never know. Right here in Las Vegas, KQQY. Yes, KQQY. More information coming up there. Thanks for joining us, LasVegasPublicRadio.org. Also, over in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM, as well as in Auburn, Alabama, WAUD, home of the world champion Atlanta Braves. And that is from Montgomery, Alabama, all the way over to Columbus, Georgia, a bunch of points in between. Also, thanks for joining us. You pick up our content over on KTXT Raider Radio on the campus of Texas Tech University, 88.1 FM. Thanks for joining us there, and all of our independents from coast to coast, as well as everybody in hotels in all Nielsen-rated markets. That's 210 of them in 4- and 5-star upscale hotels and resorts, as well as Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Wild Cable TV, and Instagram, Facebook, and AmpTV, AAMP.TV. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. All right, the last segment, it was about Michigan State not being able to control, or better yet, Mel Tucker, not being able to control his football players. You know, Mel's been fired, I don't know, or relieved from his duties many times. Let's put it this way. I think he's on about his 15th coaching gig. Talk about privilege. His 15th coaching gig in, 25 years? Some crap like that. And, of course, they gave him almost $100 million to do what? To have his players run amok? Really? So we did a comparison between Michigan State and Michigan in the first segment. Make sure you go back to the recorded portion of the program. You can pick that up on Spotify, iHeartRadio, on Amazon. In fact, we're also on Audible, too. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we're on all those. So check out thesportscircus.com, and you can see all of those and just click on any one of your favorites. So we compared the two universities, even academically. Michigan, University of Michigan, is head and shoulders above Michigan State University in every damn aspect for the most part. And by the way, Michigan State has been so desperate under Mel Tucker, so desperate to win. What have they done? Yes, when teams struggle, they make some shallow changes, don't they? Well, now it's Michigan State's turn. They wore a green script state helmet against Wisconsin. They wore the white hats, the white helmets with the Spartan logo on it against Michigan. What's it going to be the following week? And the week after that? It doesn't matter. Sparty my ass. Listen, it doesn't matter what you put on your head. It's what's in your head that's going to either get you to be successful on the field or in the game of life. It's not the colors or the design on your hat. Get over yourselves, people. Seriously. How bleeping stupid is that? Look, they changed the uniforms. They changed the helmets. How'd that work out? It didn't work out. So guess what? Don't do it again. What a waste of time. Speaking of changing money, rinsing money, I don't know, you call it what you will. How about the NFL trade deadline? Yeah, big things happen with the trade deadline. Bradley Chubb makes a move. Chase Claypool, the wannabe has-been 2-year quarterback from Pittsburgh, moves his way to Chicago. Calvin Ridley, who just liked to gamble, is now on a different team, but yet he can't play this year. I mean, how incredibly irresponsible to make a trade for him. It's unbelievable. But what you need to know, the Jets trade defensive end to Broncos. The Jaguars trade for a receiver suspended for betting, who we just said Calvin Ridley, so the Jags aren't going to be able to use him till next year, although he's a pretty good receiver. Next year, not this year. And, of course, the Lions. Yes, here's the Lions. Somehow the Lions made the move. Yes, they made the first move of the trade deadline. And what did they do? They traded their star tight end to a division rival. Dumb as is, dumb as do, I see. I don't know. So here's some details on some of this. Now, the Jets hang on to a pair of disgruntled players at a quiet trade deadline. At the deadline, the Jets subtracted a player from an area of strength and kept all players from an area of discontent. So the Jets' only move entailed dealing defensive end Jacob Martin to the Broncos. At least they traded him to the AFC West in exchange for pick swaps. So basically, you get this pick, we get that pick. The Jets will get the 4th-round pick in the 2024 and will lose their 2024 5th-round pick. So it's a 4th for a 5th. I don't know, a couple of years down the road. It doesn't really matter too much at this point. Now, Joe Douglas did not trade Elijah Moore or Denzel Mims, talented receivers who have requested to be shipped out. Now, the general manager did not upgrade an offensive line that's been hit hard by injuries either. Now, that's a point they really should have focused on. So, unfortunately, Douglas's largest move actually occurred a week previous when he traded for running back James Robinson after Breece Hall went down. But they had to do that. So, the Jets really didn't do a lot, but they really didn't have to. This team's got to come together. I talked with former Jets great Earl Christie. God love Earl Christie. He's just a great guy. He's one of those guys you always want to talk to. Earl Christie. Check him out. Super Bowl champion Earl Christie. He played on that same team with Broadway Joe Namath. So Earl and I talk about the Jets and Gang Green on a regular basis. Always rooting for them because they're the other team in, well, New Jersey, if you know what I mean. Because two teams really play in New Jersey, and that's the New York Giants and the New York Jets. But who's keeping track? The only team that really plays in New York are the Buffalo Bills. Nonetheless, so the Jets are really doing some good stuff. And look, with the apparent heavy lifting done last week by getting that running back, Douglas traded Martin, a rotation player who was signed to a 3-year deal at $5+ a year this offseason. And Martin had only 1.5 sacks in 8 games as part of a deep defensive group. So he just wasn't getting the playing time. Really. I mean, there's enough, let's face it, there's enough bodies out there, but they just weren't getting the right guys out there. Also, the New York Football Giants general manager, Joe Shen, didn't want to mortgage the future for an overachieving team. And so the Giants really didn't make any moves, and that's not really the worst thing, now is it? Because when you think about teams that make moves because they think they need to, I don't know. So they went without any real additions or subtractions or anything like that. They're expected to be a bottom-feeding team anyway, but ironically, they're at 6-2 heading into the bye week. I mean, talk about an overachiever. So there were a variety of reasons why the Giants did not make a move, and the players available were either not considered a big upgrade or teams could not agree on money to add to the contract of the players that was too high for the salary cap challenges that the Giants have in the first place. So the main reason, though, why Joe Shun, in his first season as the GM, did not do anything to fortify his first Giants roster, that he looks at a fantastic record, doesn't seem really motivated to make a move. It's like, wow, we're way overachieving. Why should we do anything? So a gritty, hardworking team, yes, but a roster that's not yet ready to attain what he says and head coach Brian DeBall want to achieve in what they anticipate to be the long haul with the franchise. In fact, the GM said in his State of the Team media session, quote, "You have to step back and honestly evaluate the roster. You can get caught up in, hey, we won that game. Yeah, but we were also down 17-3 at some point, and you got to take a step back and look at it for what it is." And I like that. That's a really good, mature business attitude as well. How about the Texans, and how about Brandon Cooks? Man, this guy can't buy a break, and frankly, I don't think anybody wants him either because it seems like he's crying a little bit. And this guy just can't seem to be happy wherever the hell he is. Doesn't matter. So the Texans wide receiver Brandon Cooks thought he would be on a new team after the deadline. No, he's not. Absolutely not. However, the Texans chose not to deal this guy. Look, he's 29, and it's a decision Cooks is seemingly less than thrilled about. But look, this guy's getting paid millions of dollars to do what? Play a kid's game. So shut the beep up and play the damn game. Seriously. Cooks said, quote, "Don't take a man's kindness for granted, covered for the lies that he Too long, those days are gone. Cross the line with the players with my career. Close quote. Shut up. Really, Brandon Cooks, do us all a favor and just shut the hell up. Seriously, you're playing in the National Football League. You're a pro. Act like it. And so, nonetheless, that's the end of that. And the Giants, by the way, back to the Giants, they gave a hard no trade about good players as well. So they weren't doing anything. That's why the Giants didn't make a move. Cowboys were in talks with the Texans about Cooks, but it seemed like maybe his crybaby-ishness was too much. So the Jets also received a call about Elijah Moore. The Falcons trade Dean Marlowe to the Bills. Not really a big move, except for the Bills were looking for a running back. And, of course, the Chiefs trade Rashad Fenton to the Falcons before the deadline. And, of course, the Colts trade Nyheim Hines to the Bills before the deadline because they needed a running back. Apparently, Singletary wasn't good enough. And, of course, the Falcons trade Ridley to the Jags, as we mentioned. The Dolphins acquired Jeff Wilson for the Niners. Commanders trade Wilson Jackson to the Steelers. And the Packers made a run at Claypool, but the Bears got him. Back in a few minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come. All right, here's the rest of that audio piece I played last break. Let's see if we can get this thing going.
Well, Sal the floor sweeper.
That's his new name.
Sal the bookkeeper. Hey,
Yeah, but even my name, even my last name.
Add that one to the bank, you know?
But no, Alicia, you even got my last name wrong. That's why I said my
I know it
colon
starts
was
with a
bleeding.
V. It starts with a V.
He said a V. Really?
Let the name bother you. Just bring a cue card with you next
Yeah,
time.
but people can't read my name off a cue
Or
card.
change your name to Joe Smith or something. Jeez, make it easy.
This is Sal Tuzzolino, host and ringmaster of the Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all day long? The Sports Circus covers everything that other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it on air that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. Also, you could call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem. Remember, folks, it's a circus, and we prove it every day.
I want to try to instill some of this winning environment for this particular team. What's been your experience? Kevin, we're going to start with you. What was your experience going from Team A to Team B and bringing that Super Bowl experience to the next team?
You know, they were kind of getting on me, wanting me to chill out a little bit, not play a game on a Wednesday and Thursday. But I always felt that, you know, you got to play at game day speed on Wednesday and Thursday so that you're instinctive and you can play on game day speed on game day.
The Sports Circus is received well on all radio formats and is currently aired on sports, news, and music stations.
Andre Reed,
Mario Andretti,
Herschel Walker,
Blake Firestone,
Mike Haynes,
Jim Jeffcoat,
Rod Jaworski,
Al Bubba Baker, Brett Saberhagen,
It's a circus and we prove it every day.
Aaron Fink, Breaking Benjamin, Jason Hartlett, drummer for rock legend Ted Nugent,
Matt Starr, drummer for Ace Frehley from Kiss,
Phil Buckman, the bass player in the rock band Fuel.
Hey, brother.
Hey, we know quality content is hard to find, so if you're ready to have the Sports Circus in your market, give us a call right now at 714-948-0100. That's 714-948-0100, or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Thanks for joining us, and until then, so long, everyone.
NXW Trenton Kicks 101.5. The music you love to hear.
WJBQ C100.
You're listening to 97 WYNY. WYNY.
Hey everybody, this is Barry Katz from the Industry Standard Podcast, and you're listening to the Sports Circus with Sal Tuzzolino.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Cali Vegas, helping people create and host their very own radio, TV, or multimedia talk show. Cali Vegas can help with everything people need to get out of sitting in traffic for hours and hours commuting back and forth to the same old boring job and host their very own talk show in their very own home studio. For more information, contact Kelly Vegas at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Again, 949-445-1119. Or check them out at kellyvegas.com. That's CALI Vegas.com. Or email them at info@kellyvegas.com. That's info@CALIVegas.com. Yes! All right, welcome back to everybody watching on television, listening in on the radio, everybody watching the stream as well on Instagram, Facebook, and AMP TV, AAMP.TV. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. All right, sticking with the NFL, just talked a little trade deadline. How about this? In case you haven't noticed, just in case you haven't noticed, the Green Bay Packers are really stinking up the joint. What a beautiful thing. Gotta tell you. They've lost, well, let's put it this way. They're 3-5 this season, 2 under 500, which usually, Aaron Rodgers, you'd hear him say, well, just relax or some crap like that. Guess what, buddy? It ain't happening this year. I mean, look, the Packers are 2-2 at home. Oh, yeah. 1-3 on the road. All 3 teams in New York have beaten them. Yes, including Gang Green and the New York Jets. Well, actually, the real thing is there's one team in New York, and that's the Buffalo Bills. The other two, we'll say the 2 New Jersey teams, also beat Green Bay. Doesn't matter. Green Bay's defense is mediocre at best. I mean, they stink. You can't say, well, Devontae Adams is gone, so the defense is terrible too. No, they can't stop the run. In fact, the Bears exposed them early on, and everybody is running up and down the field, north and south, and they are playing smash mouth football right in their faces, and you gotta love it, and you love the fact that Green Bay's on their heels. I gotta tell you, I'm absolutely sick and tired and sick to death of seeing Green Bay this, Green Bay that. Guess what? You bandwagon fans are gonna have to go jump on the Buffalo Bills now, right? Because the Bills just kicked Green Bay's ass. Or go jump on the Miami Dolphins bandwagon, or because now you're off of Tom Brady's bandwagon. Go find another team to be on somebody's bandwagon, but get off of that Green Bay bandwagon. Seriously, enough is enough. What about Aaron Rodgers' declining skills? Everybody talks about Tom Brady's. Oh, they just signed Rodgers to this 2-year mega monster, $40 million, whatever the hell it is. I don't know. It's an umpteen $1 million deal. It doesn't matter. Back up the Briggs truck because Aaron needs more money. Maybe he needs to cut that ponytail. I don't know. But look, this guy is not so good. He is very mediocre at this point. Green Bay is 20th in the league in passing. Aaron has his lowest passing yards per game since becoming a starter way back in the time machine in 2007. That deserves a little round of applause. And of course, it's his lowest quarterback rating in 7 years. Oh, and by the way, yes, once in a while he does run the ball. He even has his lowest rushing yards per carry. Yes, at 1.3 yards per carry. Got to mention that. I mean, think about Aaron Rodgers. Does he miss Devontae Adams? Yeah, he misses Devontae Adams. Whatever. That's one guy. That's one receiver. One. Just one. What about the big contract? Is Green Bay getting their money's worth? What do you think about that, folks? I don't know.
Show me the money!
Maybe, maybe not. Think about the team becoming unglued. Kind of like we're seeing in Tampa. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is not going through this divorce crap that Tom Brady is, but this is domestic garbage. Leave that crap out of it. This is business, on the field business. What about the fans? This is the worst part. The fans, they pay so much money to go to a game. It's crazy how much money that people pay to go see football games in Green Bay just to see a rather suspect product on the field. And I can't say that I'm upset about it, if you know what I mean. I'm not upset about it. And, we think about the fans and how much money they spend. And, there are the different stats out there. And this one is for best football cities for fans. And one would think it would probably be maybe Green Bay at the top. Not so fast! No, it's actually the Pittsburgh Steelers. With, I don't know, they used to be at Heinz Field. I don't even know what's it called now. But the Steelers fans still show up. Come hell or high water, they show up. In fact, they rank number 1. Yes, number 1. And number 7 for a college football city on top of it. So let's give it up for Pittsburgh, that hard-working town. How about Dallas coming in second? Yes, Dallas came in second. But a healthy 6 points, which is a lot in this ranking, behind Pittsburgh. So we go to the old Pittsburgh-Dallas stuff back from the 1970s. Green Bay comes in third. A distant third from Pittsburgh. And right behind them, of course, is the great city of Boston. Boston comes in right behind Green Bay as the 4th fanatic city for football. Going down the list, LA comes in at 5th, surprisingly. New York, behind all of them. Yes, with their 2 football teams that play in New Jersey. Maybe if they played in New York, it might be a different story. Miami comes in 7th. New Orleans in 8th, right behind, literally percentage points behind Miami. And in 9th is Houday in Cincinnati. And I'll tell you what, Houday got their asses whooped by Cleveland. What? By Cleveland. What? By Cleveland. We have to say it like that. What? Well, all right. Indianapolis at number 10 with their benched quarterback at Matt Ryan, who they went out of their way to go pick up. Kansas City, the Kansas City Chiefs come in at 11 with Patrick Mahomes as the fanatic favorite city. That's nuts. San Francisco at 12th. Glendale, Arizona, of course, home of the Cardinals, are 13th. Buffalo, Bills Mafia. You would think they'd be a hell of a lot higher. No, they're right smack in the middle of the pack, along with Denver and Baltimore. How about that? Baltimore, we don't even know which team's going to show up. Is it going to be the police is going to show up to take the players away, or is it going to be the players to take the ball away from the other team? Not really sure about that. Seattle comes in at 17th with their 12th man, right? Because they're so fanatically, whatever the hell you want to say. If you're such fanatics, how the hell you come in 17th? Minnesota, I expect them to be at number 18. Philadelphia, Philadelphia, our fans are blah, blah, blah. Really? Yeah, your fans stink because they come in at number 19. Yes, in the league, in the lower third, essentially. And Atlanta right behind them, literally percentage points behind them. And Tampa, maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have seen better days. And of course, Washington, D.C., Dan Snyder's Commanders. Another big question mark at number 22. And rounding out the bottom of the list, of course, we have right here in Las Vegas. Nobody gives a damn about the Raiders except the media. And the media only cares about them because they're told to care about them. But the people here in Las Vegas typically are Denver Broncos fans. This was a Broncos town here in Las Vegas because that's what we always got on television here. Then when the Raiders come to town, they're like, oh, great. Now I got a bunch of criminals coming here. That's what it seems like anyway. And the fans don't support the Las Vegas Raiders like one would think. No, it's more of a TV thing. Nashville, but you can call them Smashville in hockey. They come in 24. Charlotte, I would expect them to be at the bottom of the food chain. Cleveland comes in at 26th. Chicago, my hometown, well, they come out and support the Bears. They're just really pissed at them. And of course, other cities, even Tuscaloosa. I love this one. Tuscaloosa, Alabama made this list of fanatic cities, of course, for their Alabama Crimson Tide. But I guess they really are a pro team if you look at it that way. Houston, an abysmal 29th. And of course, the armpit of the United States, that would be Detroit. They come in at an abysmal 30th place. Yes, 30th place.
Detroit sucks! Detroit sucks!
The fans are saying it.
Detroit sucks!
Not me, folks. It's for fans.
Detroit
and especially in this ranking.
Detroit sucks!
And the fans feel their team.
Detroit sucks!
I can't help it, folks.
Sucks!
They just keep saying it, so we just keep playing it. But ultimately, this is about a bad team in a bad fan-friendly city. That financially, the city is depressed. And of course, our wonderful government, current administration, doesn't seem to give a damn about the city of Detroit unless it's about what? Wow, voting. That's right. Voting is the only thing that seems to matter in the city of Detroit. But that's only the votes that go to the blue team and certainly not those that went to the red team. Because apparently in the state of Michigan, late ballots all seem to go to the blue team rather than the red team. How is that? Oh, those are the mules. You ever see that 2,000 mules thing? Check that out, folks. All right, we're going to be back here on the Sports Circus with a lot more. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk college football when we return, back in a few minutes.
Hello Americans, it's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Don't wait. Call right now. 888-794-1630. 888-794-1630. Write it down. 888-794-1630. Again, for the last time, 888-794-1630.
Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you start up with capital, business strategy, sales, and marketing, and establish your company with a physical location or an online presence on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea. Then American Business Trust can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com. Or call them at 657-600-1876. That's American Business Trust Company. 657-600-1876. Call them today. They'll help your business right away. That's American Business Trust Company. Online at abtrustco.com. American Business Trust Company.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.
Hey, this is Tommy John, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, aamp.tv. Like, subscribe, and follow. This segment brought to you in part by the Sports Circus. Make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which are podcasts. They can be found all on our homepage. In fact, your favorite platforms from Apple Podcasts to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, Amazon, Audible as well. We're on all of them, folks. You can't get away from us. Also, a lot of our affiliates, they have their own archives as well, so make sure you check those too. Also, make sure to go to the partners page. One of our partners that's been with us since the very beginning is the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events and event tickets and all the information for those events. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Yes! All right, welcome back to everybody watching on television and hotels from coast to coast. Over 500,000 rooms. Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Well Cable TV, all of our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, plus our independents from coast to coast. Everybody streaming on Instagram, Facebook, and AMP TV, aamp.tv. Thanks for following, watching as well. Make sure you subscribe. All right, we did talk college football earlier, but only focused on Michigan and Michigan State. And now we're going to talk about the top 25 according to the college football playoff ranking. Proceeding with a chorus of boos, of course. Unfortunately, this playoff system is broken. However, we do have a different team at number 1. And you know what we're going to do? In fact, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up just because we can. What do you think about that? So we're going to start at number 25 according to the CFP rankings, and that is Central Florida. Central Florida at 6-2. They are playing at Memphis in their next game. That ought to be a good one. Number 24 is Texas. I don't know how Texas gets in with 3 losses. Texas at 5-3 is at Kansas State. Kansas State just came off a good old-fashioned ass whooping of Oklahoma State. 48-0. What are they going to do to Texas? That ought to be a good one. How about Oregon State? Comes in at 23rd at 6-2. They're going up to Seattle. They're going to play the University of Washington, and that is no joke. Oregon State is going to have their hands full over there. Number 22, North Carolina State is at number 20, or better yet, they're home. They're hosting number 21, Wake Forest. So that ought to be an interesting get-up between those two. In fact, the early favorite will go to Wake Forest by just that much. Everybody watching on TV is probably a very, very small margin. Syracuse, fresh off their ass-whooping at Notre Dame. At 6-2 are at Pitt, and it could be another long game for the Orange of Syracuse. Coming in at 19th. It's too late in the Green Wave. They're at Tulsa in their next game. They're coming in at 7-1. Now, Oak State, after that bludgeoning, they got absolutely creamed by Kansas State. Now they're headed over to Lawrence, Kansas to play the other Kansas team. They're going to play the Jayhawks, who got off to a 5-0 start, but have crumbled and tumbled ever since. And they're not ranked at this point. Number 17, North Carolina, Chapel Hill. 7-1 at Virginia, playing the Wahoos over in Blacksburg, and that ought to be an easy win. Illinois, 16th, is playing, of course, the aforementioned Michigan State Spartans, who, of course, are now public enemy number 1 in the Big Ten and probably in many other conferences and around these United States of America. Penn State comes in at 15-6-2, and they're traveling down to Bloomington, Indiana. That's no picnic down there, folks. That's going to be a very tough game, a lot closer than what people think. Take Indiana with the points. They'll be a home team dog. Utah, number 14, 6-2, is hosting Arizona. Should be a very easy win for the Utes. 2 what? 2 Utes? Yes. And number 13, Kansas State. Those Wildcats are hosting Texas, as we mentioned earlier. Should be a nice win for Kansas State. Maybe climb up a notch or so after one of these other teams ahead of them lose. And one of them could be UCLA. Travel over to Tempe, Arizona. Not Tempe, it's Tempe. So they're going to play the Sun Devils, and we're going to have to score a lot of points to beat that team. I think the final score, who knows? All I know is it's going to probably take about 40 to 45 points to win that game. Ole Miss at number 11 gets a bye. LSU is hosting Alabama. 6-2, LSU is hosting Alabama, and LSU just had a real nice win in their last game, so they got some momentum. Watch out, because the Bayou Bengal Tigers could be doing something late in the season here. So, USC, the Trojans of Southern Cal, are hosting the Berkeley Bears. They're playing Cal Berkeley, and that should be an easy win for USC, but they got to find a way to get some defense on the field. Defensively, they're looking terrible. Offensively, yeah, they could score 40 a game. Problem is they're giving up 39 a game or something like that. It's terrible. Anyway, coming in at number 8 is Oregon, right above them, 7-1, and they are traveling over to Boulder. It should be an easy win for Oregon and Bo Nix and the group. We say that for our friends over in Auburn, of course, who just had a coaching change and finally getting rid of who? Of Brian Harsin. Thank God for that. What a terrible hire by Auburn in the first place. What the hell were they thinking? Thinking they could go into the Mountain West and go grab a coach from Boise State who doesn't recruit against the SEC. He recruits against the Pac-12 or the Mountain West. He doesn't recruit against pro football. That would be the SEC or the Big Ten. Come on. So Brian Harsin, have fun. Go back to the Mountain West where you belong. Anyway, Auburn gets a new lease on life. They'll have a new coaching everything, and hopefully moving forward, War Eagle will be a little bit better than what they've shown because they've only won 1 out of the last 9 against the SEC on top of it. So, coming in at number 7 is TCU. How about the Horned Frogs? They are hosting the Red Raiders of Texas Tech University, a high-scoring, high-flying team. Anything could happen in that game. It's going to take 50 to win that one, folks. Coming in at number 6 is number 6 Alabama at 7-1, traveling, as we mentioned, to Baton Rouge, over to Death Valley. And who knows what's going to happen there, but Alabama's going to have their hands full. Michigan comes in at number 5 in the college football playoff ranking, and they are traveling over to New Jersey to play Rutgers, and that should be a nice, easy win for them. They should retain that number 5. And, of course, Clemson is going to retain their number 4 because they have a bye week this week. Georgia comes in at number 3. They are ranked number 1 in the AP Top 25, but not in the first College Football Playoff Committee selection. They are ranked number 3. But they are squaring off against number 1, Tennessee in Georgia. Yeah, they're going to be playing in Athens. And guess what, folks? We may see a flip-flopping of those teams. Who knows what the hell's going to happen there? But Georgia is hosting number 1 Tennessee, 3-1. It's going to be one hell of a game. And Ohio State is the only one left at number 2, because we already mentioned number 1 Tennessee, number 2, and they travel to Chicago to play Northwestern. Should be an easy game. And of course, as you know, the last game of the season between Ohio State and Michigan, which currently are 2-5, you're going to see something happen there. And the only way Michigan drops out of the scene there is if they lose to Ohio State. If Michigan loses to Ohio State, their season is flushed down the toilet for the most part, except for the fact that there will be a one-loss team ahead of them between Tennessee and Georgia. Well, obviously, this weekend is going to show one of those two teams are going to lose between Michigan and Ohio State. So that's 1-3. And 2-5 play each other as well the last game of the season. So you're going to have at least 2 one-loss teams in that top 5 before the new polls come out. Or better yet, that Michigan-Ohio State game is going to be the last game of the season. But a lot of stuff can change here. So it's not like Clemson is locked into this number 4 slot for the long run. Yes, they are undefeated right now, but Clemson very well could lose a game, and they haven't played their best football yet. Maybe they will. We don't know which Clemson's going to show up. So Dabo Swinney's got those guys playing, but are they playing at championship level is the question everybody needs to be asking. And are they playing good enough to beat a Tennessee team? Good enough to beat Ohio State? Are they playing good enough to beat Georgia? Good enough to beat Michigan? What about Alabama? Every year Alabama is there. So, are they good enough, being Clemson, good enough to beat those teams? What about TCU? If TCU wins out, you've got to keep them in the conversation because they're going to be undefeated. And they represent what? The Big 12 Conference. Because the next Big 12 team below them is number 13 Kansas State. A very good Kansas State team, but they got 2 losses. TCU has no losses. And what about Mississippi State? Ole Miss. How about Ole Miss at 8-1? They could play and beat anybody because they could score 50 a game. That's just the way that team is built. It's kind of like, I would love to see a game between USC And I'd love to see them play Mississippi. I want to see Ole Miss play Southern Cal. What a wild game. They scored 200 points in that game, if you know what I mean. Some crazy amount of points. But anyway, a lot's going to happen in this college football playoff committee selection deal. But the AP Top 25 has Georgia first, Tennessee third, Ohio State still second, etc. And most of the others are kind of the same. So they've got those two flip-flopping. And I think it's because Tennessee did beat Alabama. I think that's what it was. But now that good Tennessee team has to travel to Georgia to play on the road. Let's see if they can knock off the AP Top 25 number one in their stadium instead of beating a great team in Knoxville. So Rocky Top's got their work cut out for them. But nonetheless, folks, it's going to be one hell of a road finish. Better yet, I'm going to say for the end of the road, for the rest of the season, between these top 7, 8, 9, 10 teams. That's all good stuff. If you're into college football, I love college football. I mean, that's going to be one hell of a finish. How about this real quick? We're going to end with this. The Big 12 to go without divisions, as 14 teams in the league are actually going to be it. It's going to be top to bottom. And the Big 12, this is according to NBC Sports, the Big 12 will operate without divisions in football next season when the arrival of Central Florida, Cincinnati, Brigham Young, and Houston create a 14-team conference and ends its current round-robin scheduling framework. So Commissioner Brett Yormark held a call with Big 12 schools to announce the plan. Every school will play 9 conference games just like they have since it's become a 10-league team, and schools will play each other at least once in each 2-year period. Seems pretty fair. Traditional rivalries, of course, are going to stay the same. And, of course, Yormark had said, quote, excited about what it will look like, looking at geography and, from student-athlete perspective and travel and all those principles are part of the decision-making, but will end up in a great place, close quote. So, look, these guys are going to do the right thing for the Big 12, and let's see what happens. It's going to be a little bit hairy out there, but guess what? Worse things have happened, and the Big 12 is doing whatever it can to survive. Well, and frankly, I don't really see anything wrong with that, and you shouldn't either. All right, folks, that's going to do it for the circus today. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, and we'll see you next time right here on your favorite station. So until then, so long, everyone.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this commercial right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC Sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.